welcome everyone to our second Global Town Hall session. I'm absolutely delighted to be hosting the event in our London office today. First of all, some welcomes to Lars. It's fantastic to know you exist. So lovely to have you here. I think it's the first time most of us are in the London office, are meeting Lars today. And also to Mike, who's flown in from the Netherlands. We haven't seen you in about 18 months, so warm welcome. So it's a great opportunity for us as a global business to understand really what's gone well in the last 3 months, what our focuses are in the next 3 months, and really just to get the business updates, and then also have an opportunity to ask any questions you may have. I know the forms have been submitted and we'll be addressing some of those questions. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy the session. Over to Lars.
Thank you, Sally. Sit down and relax. This doesn't go for me. The next 90 minutes will be quite exciting. Once was asked by my kids what is more stressful, presenting to clients or a large audience or to your own team. It actually is the own team. Makes me way more nervous than being anywhere else on stage, because failing in front of the team is way worse. Clients and what sort of thing. And yes, I do exist. If I would ask my family right now that I exist, the welcome of my family is pretty much the same. They're touching and saying, well, it is actually him, because I've been traveling quite a lot over the last couple of weeks, using the window that we currently have, where pandemic is kind of half forgotten. If I travel, it feels like life's a bit back to normal. I had a wonderful time with our US friends a couple of weeks ago, and wandering around the streets of New York. I must admit that with a little bit less people and less stress, the passive aggressiveness of New Yorkers is gone. And I've observed Cuban parties on blocked streets with people dancing the whole night through. I've never seen New York that way before. But let's start with the presentation and why we're here. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having us. It's great to be here, and it's actually the same. When I've joined or was interviewed at the end of last year, clicking through photos and seeing the photos of the London office, I just couldn't believe that it actually exists, and being here now is a great feeling. What are we going to touch upon today? It is not only for me exciting because I'm presenting in front of all of you. It's very exciting because we have 2 big announcements to make. And you don't see the other view, my view. You will see a little later. I'm looking into a couple of faces that have just recently, literally a few minutes ago, joined the Incubeta family, but I'm not going to spoil the whole thing now. So you're going to get a little bit of an update. There's some sharing and some Q&As. So it's going to be the business performance. Susie is busy with preparing the latest numbers. So the numbers that I'm going to show today is the ones that you already know. That's boring. Therefore, we're going to save some time on that one. A little bit of an update on the United States. You all have seen my email going out 3 weeks ago. I might give you a little bit more of a background on that. Some marketing update. I will be joined by Damien, because I don't know anything about marketing. And as Damien kindly has stepped in until Lisa is back, who I met today for the first time, unfortunately without baby. But I expect you to bring the baby tomorrow. And then update on acquisitions. In the questions that you've handed in, there has been a lot of questions around acquisitions. So therefore, we've decided to make that part quite extensive. And also because we're announcing 2 acquisitions today. So the performance, you've seen that numbers before. We are actually on controllable EBITDA way above target, which is fantastic, but I flagged in my review for the first half the little bit of an Achilles heel that we have, which is our GP. We are flat, which is fine, like we are on budget. Congratulations for fantastic budgeting, but I would hope to be a bit ahead of budget because the tough quarter is about to come. As we all know, the seasonality in our business is way towards the end of the year. Q4 is in front of us. So let's hope that our predictions for the 4th quarter are all correct, and we're going to hit the numbers towards the end of the year. We've been extremely successful. I don't have to mention that again. I can make this list endlessly long. We've won fantastic clients over the last 8 months. Some of them are amongst the largest tier 1 clients that you can only wish for. And we've skipped some of the brands already because we've talked about Beiersdorf so many times before, or about Stellantis. But just mentioning Tails.com, for many of you, maybe it doesn't count, but it's our foot in the door to Nestlé, which, as you all know, is one of the largest corporates in the world, so there's lots to come. And Qatar, I think you've all been on the general Slack channel. Qatar, we have just launched the first campaign, so we're live. This has taken over. We've got many hands in South Africa who are currently working on that account, making it happy. Tough job, thanks to that team. It was, looking at Mike, I think we only had about 2 weeks from getting onboarded to going live. That's a first. Huge congratulations. A little bit of a more in-depth view, how we perform where. Let's call it the media business, the classical and the performance media business is performing well. 4% ahead. Tech, everything around our Google partnership, way ahead, +9. Where we're currently slightly struggling is our creative business, which is -37. But not to point at anyone, this in fact is nothing else than a huge opportunity, and we're going to turn that. With that, something that I'm really, really proud of, and I know that many of us in HR have worked hard to achieve that numbers in a very competitive environment where we currently really struggle to get talent. That is not only for Cape Town, it's everywhere. We have achieved a staggering number of 81 new joiners. When I've joined, we were around 450 people. Just the percentage of increase in staff is outstanding. You see where most of them are located in EMEA, but it's the A where most of them are, talking about Africa. South African team has increased significantly, and still we have double-digit numbers of people that we want to bring in. We're doing everything we can. I know some of us are suffering from us not having enough people on the ground, but I can promise that we work on it. We are now a business of over 500 people globally. And when I finish my announcements today, we're going to be even 560. Something that obviously the marketing team is very proud of, but everybody that has been involved in our new branding and our new website and in the way we go to market, is that the engagement that we are having with people outside through our social channels and the webpage has increased significantly. We are becoming a brand that is recognized. And I've attended a great workshop with the marketing team today. We're working on tons of things that going forward will increase the engagement on our platforms so that hopefully by next year, Incubeta is a brand that people do know and we get invited to numerous pitches. We've won awards. What I like about the stats here is that we already have won the amount of awards that we won last year as a total. We are a very well rewarded agency across the globe. And if I look behind that screen that I'm looking at, there is a huge wall full of awards that the UK team has won. We are proud of the fact that we are winning so many awards because it does help us tapping into clients and it basically increases the recognition of our brand. So congratulations to the teams who have won awards this year and obviously to those that have done in the past. An update on the US. You've seen my message, which went out a couple of weeks ago. We have a change in senior leadership, and I wanted to give a bit of a detail on how we continue with it. John has left the business. His last day was the 7th of September. Ed has taken over as second in command until Jonathan Blackman from South Africa, who is with the business for many, many years, who knows the business inside out, is a childhood friend of Alan. Jonathan's career is not only being a South African chess master, showing that his brain obviously seems to work, but he is ever in his career been someone that is in data, in technology, and especially in media. Jonathan has a very active network in the United States. He was running sort of a side business, as all of you know, from South Africa in the United States, which he's going to bring to the States once he moves. He has lined up a pretty complicated process, especially during the pandemic, of moving all his family to New York. So by hopefully January, all visas will be ticked. His family will be packed the boxes, and they're all going to move. Jonathan is now quarantining somewhere in the world from where he could go from Cape Town. He's staying there for 2 weeks, and at the end of September, he will fly into Los Angeles, spend some time with the creative team there, and then fly to New York for another couple of weeks. So that's going to be his first touch point on ground. And in the meantime, and especially until the end of the year, Ed is the one that holds everything together, and he's going to be the second in command from 1st of January on. Some positive news around the States as well, and I know that everybody in the team, Zoe and Mike and Jessica, are extremely proud of that. We are now finally approved full stack GMP partner in the United States. It took us a couple of attempts. Mike, I think it was 2 or 3. 3, thank you. But we're there now. And Google is extremely happy, and so are we. Different doors and larger doors will now open up for our American business. We have a very, very strong sales pipeline at the moment. I had a quick chat with Ed yesterday, and I just loved the way he summarized it. He said that currently there are more pitches than ever before. Well done. I hope the conversion is going to be extremely high, but this is exactly what we currently need for our American business. And something that I'm personally very proud of, because we've always, sort of, like a mantra, have repeated that we do need retainer-based business in creative. And with Credit Karma, just won by Sarah and her team in Los Angeles, we finally have a large, big client that basically runs on retainer base. We have a strong growth in media services, and we have produced something that I can only urge everybody to use, to look at, and even use outside the United States. We have launched a white paper around privacy and digital responsibility. It has already led to 13 leads in the US, hot leads, by the way. So it is worth reading, not only to learn something, but also to use for your clients. And with that, because my mouth is getting dry, I'm going to hand over to Damien. I have a sip of water, and then I'll be back. Damien on marketing. Thank you.
Thanks, Lars. Thank you very much. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to give an update on marketing. I think a really great example of marketing activity that we produced is that digital responsibility white paper. Marketing's so important to us as an organization. We're an organization that has the ambition to grow at an exponential rate. And the only way we'll be able to do that is if we really nail marketing. So what I want to talk to you about today is some of the things that we've got planned from a marketing perspective. But before I go into that, I wanted to show you the scale of our marketing team now. So we have our global marketing team, which is headed up by Lisa, who we're very fortunate enough to have in the office today. Becky has joined us as Global Communications Manager. And then we have Scarlett, who looks after events, and Matty, who looks after content. And then we also have our local team. So in the US, we have Tom and Danielle. In Europe, we have Cindy. In South Africa, we've got Neve and Melinda. And in the UK, we've got Maria. And with this expanded resource, we're going to be able to do so much more. But it also gives us the question of how do we split that responsibility between the global team and the local team. And the best way to think about this is to think about it as a scale. So you can see the scale on the right-hand side there, really splitting that responsibility between things which are more global and things which are more local. So more global would include things like our brand strategy, our CRM infrastructure, global campaigns that we would look to run, global content, global PR. And then there's some things which are shared. So certainly the content that we would put on the website is a shared responsibility, as is social strategy, paid media, awards and events. And then we have activity which is much more driven by local markets. So making sure that we're putting the right information into the CRM, local PR, local campaigns, local content, and finally lead generation. So that's how we're thinking about the structure of our overall global marketing team. And there's a couple of initiatives that we put in place which will allow us to move much faster and produce much more effective content. So the first is that we have a marketing action plan which takes us up to the end of this year. Take you through some of the things that we've got on that action plan. And then also we have a global communications calendar as well. So one place where you can find everything that we're going to be working on from a marketing perspective. And that's going to be shared with everybody in the business. So you have complete visibility of every project that we're working on as a marketing team. So in terms of the action plan, here's things that you can expect from us. We're going to be doing a lot of work on our website. Our website is our shop window. It's how people find out all about us. So we need to make sure that it's the absolute best reflection of our business. So we've got an accelerated plan on our website. We're also going to be creating a marketing toolbox. So we're going to be giving you what you need to be successful from a marketing perspective. And that covers everything from digital assets to digital assets that you can repurpose for recruitment, that you can repurpose for presentations, that you can repurpose for your social channels, as well as things like notepads, pens, all of that is going to be sorted out and shared with everybody very, very soon. We're also going to massively increase and enhance our reporting. So we want to give people better visibility of what marketing is delivering for our organization. So we are very shortly going to be sharing a global marketing report. And then finally, we want to increase the amount of thought leadership that we put out there. So we're going to be having many, many more speakers, attending many more events now that we can, and really getting our name out there and really making sure that Incubeta has a clear opinion. This is a big question that I've been asked, is what's happening with the website? How are we going to make it the best shop window that we possibly have for the business? Well, there's a short-term improvement plan, which takes us up to the beginning of October. So all of this will be in place for the 12th of October. That includes a redesigned homepage with a really cool, attention-grabbing animated showreel. We're going to add a creative showcase to the website. So alongside our case studies, there's also going to be all of the great creative work that we produce as an organization. We're going to be building product pages so that you can learn the specifics about all of the different services that we offer as a business and what makes us different from those services. We are going to be translating the websites into local languages, making sure that it's as localized as it needs to be. And then finally, we are also going to include a 90-second introduction to Incubeta video. And let me tell you, this is really cool. This is an asset that we've never had before that really explains who we are. And then finally, there's a longer-term plan, and that's really more about building the back end of the website. We want the website to be faster. We want it to be easier to add content to it. And so therefore, we're going to be rebuilding the back end of the website to allow that to happen. And that will be complete by about mid-November, end of November. And then last but not least, this is something that we spoke about at our last town hall in June. One of the things that we want to do is we want to make sure that we're producing really great social content. And we want to have this global influencer who's really an ambassador for Incubeta. So we're going to be sharing more details about this shortly. But this is an opportunity for somebody in our team to travel the world, to meet everybody, to shout about our success, and finally to create and share content. So this is something that we're really excited about, and something that we're going to be sharing more details about very shortly. And now I will hand back to Lars for an update on acquisitions.
I didn't know that you're so good at sales. Maybe we should repurpose you. Not only strategy and marketing and product, but also sales. Update on acquisitions. I think I've built a little bit of attention already. Looking at many places that nobody has ever seen before, but you can't yet. First of all, we have two people in the audience which I haven't met yet, but which I've spoken to a couple of times. Mark and Richard are here from Groundswell, and I just wanted to give you the opportunity for a quick update on how that's progressing. You see them very relaxed and laid back and grinning. Well, it's obvious they had 4 record GP months in a row. Growing like crazy. I've said a couple of times when we had our financial reviews, they're really chasing their earnout. If they continue like that, they can stop working next year. We're already collaborating on 2 incubator projects. This is important because always people ask me, well, you acquire companies and how is it then going to continue when it comes to integration? And integration means many things and nothing. It's like, well, you start with a name, you're Incubeta Groundswell, which is great. So that's the first box to tick. But how do you continue? Like, how is the day-to-day going to work? Is that service easy, in inverted commas, to sell? Do people within the organization understand what they should sell? How is GP split or not split? Are they separate on an island? Are they using the same tools? If you read along here, you see a lot of things that we step by step, even after the first months, have started doing. On the one hand, obviously, we don't want to interfere with an earnout that is in place, but on the other hand, we have to prepare for a time when the earnout is done, and by then hopefully have integrated the business as good as possible. So we have first client wins from cross-regional referrals, which is a great thing. We've got the projects that I've just mentioned. We have mitigated to G Suite. I see some of the newbies that are joining being not on G Suite, but on Microsoft, staring at me now hysterically. It is possible. And we now have a new CIO who has helped. I still see Mark and Richard smiling, so it obviously wasn't that painful. They're going to transition to our UK HR tool. So more and more there's going to be harmonization and integration with hopefully without interfering with your burnout. But looking at the numbers, the opposite is the fact. We've been asked a couple of times, I think even last time when we had the Global Townhall, and in the questions, how does actually M&A work? How do you do that? Can I participate? So let's go into a bit of a detail. So how does the process work? Identification can be done by anyone, in fact. Just talk to your manager, line manager, or MD and say, I know a great agency that wants to sell, or I've seen a fantastic offer, or I've just bumped into someone from company X and they're in a process. I think it's a great thing. All of the MDs are more or less obliged to bring that to their CEOs, and once that is within the CEO circle, so to speak, we talk about it at steerco level. So every idea that you might have, just bring it up. And we promise to discuss that within steerco. And if in steerco we think it's a cool thing, let's go for it. We bring it up to the M&A team, which mainly consists of myself and Darren, our external advisor. An old friend of Alan's, another old friend of Alan, but he's actually a really cool guy and he knows his shit when it comes to M&A. And then we reach out to that company. Or we might already have an information memorandum from an advisor that wants to sell that company. So then we're in that circle where just sort of Darren and myself start reaching out to that company, talk to them, evaluate. Maybe we decide it's not the right thing for whatever reason, the deeper we dive, or we realize it's actually really worth it, we should go for it, and then it comes to sort of an offer phase. And once we agree on rough terms, you usually sign a letter of intent or an offer letter, and then you start a due diligence, like really looking under the bonnet and see whether this is just a Mercedes with a small engine, or is it actually the S-Class that they're trying to sell. At the end of the day, there is going to be sort of the investment committee, which consists of Sean, myself, Alan, and Darren, who then sort of ticks off the box and say, well, that's the price that we agree on, that's the price we're willing to say. There's going to be a board resolution, which for the folks that are sitting in the audience was done yesterday night. And therefore today we could sign the final stage, which is the SPA, the share price agreement, and then we're done. No, not really. Then we have to transfer some money. And then that deal is done. So in fact, everybody can participate, and I would encourage everybody, whenever you see something, hear something, just let us know. We have a fixed section in every steerco meeting where we go through a long list of potential acquisitions or candidates, discuss them, and then talk about them. This is just stolen from a presentation that some of you know, because it was from the Exco 2 weeks ago. Was it a week ago? I'm getting confused. When was Exco? Last week? Was it last week? Last week, Tuesday. My first Exco, because the actual first one that I should have attended, I had called. So we have 6 potential acquisitions in the pipeline. Pipeline means they are in the process where the M&A team is involved and we're talking to those, out of which 4 are hot as in pretty close. And there we did announce that we are quite positive to communicate 2 at the Global Townhall, which is today. So let's see whether that is correct or not. The cumulated gross profit of those 4 hot candidates is something around 10 million, to be precise, 9.5, and roughly 3 million in pounds EBITDA being added to our long-range plan. The services that we're currently looking at, they span from a GA360 to a marketplace to data analytics, a very organic social agency. So that's the services. The regions that we are sort of fishing in is Australia, Dubai, Holland, Mexico. The early stage candidates, like those where we're in lukewarm negotiations, not even having signed an offer letter. One is in Singapore and one is in Germany. The plan is that if we hopefully have landed most of them, or those that we want to have, we will over-focus on the United States. Because then the idea of having fixed rest of the world, as in we're a strong player that can say, except United States, where we have a team, but are not strong enough for the size of the market, we're going to bring something to the negotiation table that is interesting for a partner to be acquired. We were also asked, what do they financially actually bring to our plan and to us as a company? The yellow bars is what we had in our original kind of organic long-range plan that was done last year by all the regional MDs and CEOs. So this year, we're going to be something around 40 million in gross profit, always pounds, I have to say that. I'm in the UK, but for the rest of the world, we always say pounds. And that was about to double until the year 2025, with all the acquisitions that we have lined up. And if they all fulfill their business plans, which Groundswell already does, cool. We're not going to be 88 million, we're going to be 150 million in GP. That is a significant difference. It is even more significant if you look at the EBITDA. Those companies that we're currently trying to acquire are more profitable than our current core business. I'm not saying that it's commoditized, but in classic media, it's getting more and more difficult to achieve profitabilities of more than 20%. So from 21.7 million that we had in our original long-range plan, just organically growing, we're going to grow to 34 million EBITDA by 2025. This makes us a significant player in the market, still not an S4 capital, but something that is big and that people cannot ignore anymore. So that's what numbers will add when it comes to M&A. We've mentioned the 6 that we're currently talking to, and I've sort of announced that we're going to talk about 2 today. These 2 are analytics specialists in Australia and a marketplace specialist in Holland. I see more and more smiling faces. We're announcing something, and I've spoken to Darren and to Sam, that is not signed yet, because they're in a different time zone. I hope by the time we all wake up tomorrow, it's going to be signed, because they're all sleeping right now. But as it's millimeters before signing, we're going to announce it today, because we've been negotiating for almost 9 months now, and it's literally the comma and the dot that needs to be changed in the SPA, and we're going to sign it tomorrow. But please keep that internal for now. As soon as it's literally signed, I will let you all know, and the press release will go out. We're acquiring Analysis. Analysis is a GA 360 player in the market, so we're adding analytics and data capabilities to what Sam has already built, which makes us almost full stack in Australia. And with all the clients that we're having, that really supports up the whole power that we're having. We're very proud of that. And welcome to Rod and his team. It's a relatively small acquisition, almost an acqui-hire. It's 8 or 10 people, but it's gonna change the offering that we have in the market dramatically. And now I'm sort of hesitating to click. Something that I was involved from the very beginning. It was sort of a match made in heaven when we've announced Groundswell and had the press release out. A marketplace company. And when I did my strategy presentation in November last year, I said we need to tap into marketplace because that's the next big thing. We sort of found the ones that we wanted. And we negotiated, and we've gone crazy. We were about to jump out of the window and drop the gun and start all over again, but we made it. It's been signed minutes ago, and what is fantastic is pandemic. Skip it. We have the core team and the UK team of that company today here in our office in London. And what is even more epic around it is the fact that the founder and his founding team have never met in person their UK team. So before they joined us today, they had physical lunch for the very first time. And with that, I'm announcing that we have acquired Maze One, which is, yeah, applause, why not? We are now 50 people more, and with analysis, we're 60 people more. What is Maze One? Well, marketplace specialist, and Mike will interview Tim, who's the founder, once I'm finally leaving the stage, not forever, but for the rest. I need to see my presentation again. That's not fair. Roughly 150 clients, roughly 50 people, operating in 8 countries already, partnering up with us, becoming hopefully the marketplace specialist, at least in Europe, if not in the rest of the world. Very proud having you now joining the family. It's been a bumpy road in the last 48 hours, I would say. I've got the last, yeah, I've got the same red eyes as you have. I've got the last Slack from Sean last night at 11 when he said that the notary now is closing, and it still wasn't closed, the deal. I think it literally went over the line this afternoon, right before you joined. So welcome again. We're very proud having you. This is really going to change our go-to-market. We've been best friends at Google so far, and with you folks joining, we have another big friend somewhere in Silicon Valley, Mr. Jeff Bezos, who now hopefully joins us for the next coffee. This is the team, but I think in realitas they look way better, not only black and white. Let me summarize before we interview you folks a little bit more, and you guys on Groundswell, including Groundswell as well. We're a fast-growing business. If you look at the numbers that S4 Capital currently is producing, once we've finished all the acquisitions, let's wait what we can say at the end of the year, right? We are already fast-growing, and that's mainly organic, which we should be extremely proud of in a very challenging environment. We had 81 new joiners, which is outstanding, and I welcome them all personally again. We've got great projects at the horizon, in the US in particular, with a new office coming in New York, with some restructure with Jonathan joining, and we have a good news for the Dutch team as well, who are going to get a refurb of their office, not because I stumbled in there and was shocked, or Damien was shocked. It's just about time. It looks a bit like a museum where all the old logos of companies that don't exist anymore are on the wall. So there's going to be a little bit of a refurb. Shall we paint it over the weekend ourselves? Or? Oh yeah, we'll do that. Can we get Heineken for it? Good. And we are in a position where we have a full growing pipeline of further acquisitions that will add to the story that we've just started. Incubeta London was the first, Incubeta Maze One is the second, Incubeta Analysis is the third. There's more to come this year. We're going to get out of this year as a company that has grown dramatically, and when it comes to growth rates, we can definitely compete to S4 Capital. Yes, they are larger, but they're throwing around KPIs, and we can do the same, and ours will look exactly the same. With that, clicking again, I would love to welcome Mark and Richard and Tim to the sofa. And Mike, you can moderate a few questions if you want. You've been the best moderator last time. That gives me the chance to breathe a little bit. Here you go. You don't want a clicker? No. Want to give me quick?
Thanks, Lars. This is guys. This is not a virtual background. This is actually where we can prove out that this is not a virtual background. This is where we do the talk show element. After the Townhall. Does your microphone work?
Does, yeah.
Tim, Mark, Richard.
Yeah.
Incubeta Groundswell, Incubeta Maze One.
Hey guys. That's good.
It's all happening live. It's good. Welcome, guys. Tim, I'll start with you. I've never seen you dress up so nicely. That's a personal communication. It's good to see. Congratulations. Big day for you. Big day for your team. Big day for us. Cool stuff. Lars, of course, gave a quick introduction on what you guys do. How about you explain what you guys do?
So
who you guys are?
We are a marketplace agency. About 95% of the business is Amazon related. So we are a full service marketplace agency.
Better. Yeah, else the viewers at home can see. Yes.
That means that we do everything on marketplace like Amazon, not just advertise, but we do everything from the start. We build technical connections, we make content, we help with shipment, the whole fulfillment process. We do promotions, things like Prime Day, and then we do a lot of advertising to make sure that the sales happen. So it's a very broad, scope of services we deliver. For some clients, we do everything. So we help them start on Amazon and we service the entire business. And with some of our clients, we do bits and pieces. And then, for example, other bits and pieces are being done by in-house or other agencies. I work for about 150 clients, with 50 people. Yeah, that's it.
Cool story. And you're Dutch? Part of your team is Dutch? Part of your team is in the UK? Where else are you located?
I think my accent gives it away. So yeah, we are located in Amsterdam with our main team. Then we have offices in the UK, Sweden, Denmark, and Norway. So very much North European oriented. But I'm very, very much looking forward to together with you guys, with the whole Incubeta team globally, to scale this business because yeah, marketplace are a global thing, whether it's Amazon or Zalando or local marketplaces, it's very much a global business and we like to tap in.
We will conquer the world together.
We will.
Tell me a bit about your culture. Who are you guys?
Yeah, good question. We have a very startup-ish culture. You wouldn't see maybe by me dressing up now, this is very unusual.
You have a bar.
We have a very nice bar. You're all very much welcome in Amsterdam to tap into a bar. Flat organizations, fast decision making, short lines. They're really, really startup-ish, and although we're probably fast from, just basically me 3 years ago now to 50 people in 5 countries, we really try to hold on to that culture. And any decision-making process is being done very swift and smoothly. And regardless whether the initiative comes from, we always take it seriously. I think that, yeah, we always celebrate success. That's, I think, another important thing.
Yeah, we should celebrate failures. That's something.
No, we also not forget to celebrate, right? Sometimes we do.
It's also true. One more question, because I think that's interesting for us all to understand, right? You built a fantastic business with your team, fantastic job. I'm sure many companies wanted to buy you guys. Why did you choose our nice and warm and fuzzy Incubeta family?
What I really, really admire about Incubeta is the way you fast-growing business you have internationally. And what we think really strong in the combination between the two is the international cooperation, but also the businesses really connect with each other. So you're very strong, I think, currently on the Google stack, basically, whether it's advertising or analytics or things like that. And we are very strong on the other side of the business. But for our clients, it's very important. It doesn't really matter where the sales come from. So if you're a big brand, you sell you sell garbage bins, you want to sell them on marketplace, but you also want to sell them on your own website. You want to be working with an agency that has that complete holistic view. So basically the content on Amazon is the same as their own website. If there's a promotion here, it correlates with promotion there. Maybe a new product you launch on your own website, then when it becomes the life cycle gets longer, you go from marketplace. So the two things really co-align, and I think together we can advise clients on that.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting journey. I mean, as Lars said, we're going to be best friends of Google and Amazon now, and we have to see how.
They are not best friends, by the way.
Well, it's funny, right? Because you see how much Amazon spends on Google shopping. I mean, they hate each other and they make lots of money off each other at the same time. It's, I guess, a way to do it. I think it's a very, very cool future we have ahead, because it means, and I'm going to build a very obvious bridge into Mark and Richard now, it really means that we can start controlling that e-commerce journey way more end-to-end, right? You're right, for our clients, it doesn't matter where they sell as long as they sell. If it's on source, if it's marketplaces, if it's Google, if it's organic, it shouldn't matter as long as it's the right path. And I think for Incubeta to start focusing on controlling these paths end-to-end, including marketplace optimization, including the website, including the media, including the creative, that's the absolute holy grail.
Brands don't care, right?
No, they just want to sell, and we need to be their sales engine. Yeah. So that's our challenge. Mark, Richard, welcome to my talk show. Welcome on the couch. It's been quite a year for you guys, joining the Incubeta family as Incubeta Ground 12. How has it been? How's the year been?
Super, yeah. Look, real exciting. We've been here twice now, which is great. March closed the deal, and as you can see, we're going from strength to strength. Team are happy, clients are happy. I mean, we're in e-commerce, so it's a good time. Really super to be here. Music this, we had a conversation with him a while back. It was very natural. It was very similar to conversations we've had with lots of the Incubeta team, and really, it's a people business, an ambitious business. We were a very small business with the same views. Now we're a big business with the same views. So, welcome.
Yeah, I suppose the policy for us, one of the main things whenever the acquisition was going through was ultimately making sure our staff, the ease of transition across, because it's a big thing. So I think, when we started integrating with the group, our priorities were, are staff happy? Are they comfortable? Do they understand that this is actually a bigger, better thing that we're building within a big group? And then in the client side, but look, all's went really well. And to be fair, numbers wise, it's been strong, which always helps. And the main thing for us in the next 12 months is now to be fully Incubeta and continue to pick on.
Yeah, that's great. Any tips you have for Tim in terms of how the integration has gone? Anything he should watch out for? He should focus on? I mean,
look, to be honest, we were thankful we had a good person keeping control with us and James. So the main thing really is, as soon as there's transparency between the two businesses and there's a clear vision of how do you integrate, because there's going to be certain things that you guys, by the sound of things, run Microsoft, we run Microsoft, there's pain points that they come across with standard technology moves and so on. But I think for us is, Mark and I came into this with the view of the long term, we want to be part of a group like this. It's not often these opportunities happen for companies based in Northern Ireland, for our staff and equally for our client base. We're excited about the next 12, 24 months. I think for us, there's huge optimism around how do we actually accelerate more. One of the things I suppose for us is utilizing the group. There's a lot of really talented, smart people that just get some support and bounce a few ideas off is the best bit that we got early, especially using James.
that's really exciting. I think we've been extremely good at creative media and technology. We're going to be extremely good at digital commerce, e-commerce, however we want to call it. It also means we'll look at it differently from an integration perspective. I think it's really important that we don't just think in these creative media technology brackets, but that we really start adding the digital commerce proposition in all of our markets, in how we go to market and how we represent ourselves. It really, I think, is the key strategic growth driver of the business, because that will influence media, will influence technology, but it's all outcome based, right? It's all focused on actually selling stuff instead of building a fancy banner or building a media strategy. It's pushing the actual product. So we'll need you guys to be that engine for us, driving forward and really making it happen. Before I invite Lars and Sally, any specific trends or opportunities that, I'll start with you, Mark and Richard, that you guys see within your specific realm that you want to highlight, where you really think the next 12 months are going to be massive for us in this particular area? I want to know the same thing from you, Tim.
Yeah, for us, I mentioned e-commerce is continuing to fly across all sectors, but direct to consumer really is still the area where we see most of the growth coming, and that wraps around a full service. So traditionally for us, we got heavy retail background, selling branded goods, converting demand, not unlike the media side of you guys, whereas the direct to consumer business launched needs storytelling, education, much more creative led, as well as so we got to generate demand, as well as convert it. That's home presence, marketplaces, any channels, as you mentioned, Mike. So that is going to continue to boom. I think Incubeta, with its full suite of services, is really gearing towards serving that well.
What about you, Tim?
So for our specific business, a big trend. So about a year ago, 100% of our business was Amazon related. Now it's about 95%. And a big trend globally is that other marketplaces are scaling up. I think Walmart is a prime example in the US. They're really knocking off also business from Amazon. They're building this advertising proposition, the fulfillment proposition, basically copying the business model, but very successfully. And in Europe, you have big marketplaces like Bol, Zalando, Allegro, basically all doing the same thing, following the same model. And it's a trend, and it's an important trend for our clients and for any brand basically that wants to sell online. So I would say that that's a very important trend for us to tap into, because that's where we can deliver. We can make a difference, we can deliver sales.
It's also why I'm not an Amazon specialist, but a marketplace specialist.
Yeah, exactly. We want to be that.
Yes.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter, we deliver sales.
Exactly. Good stuff. Thanks a lot, guys. You cannot leave my couch yet. Sally and Lars, would you join me, please? And Sally, could you grab my questions? I forgot my questions. You printed them out so nicely for me. Yeah, well, I have to switch a little bit. I mean, there should actually be a musical performance in the talk show, right? I don't know who's going to do the musical performance. I was just singing voice there.
I don't know how is it actually in the UK, right? Do we have to social distance? In fact, no.
It's too late now.
Is it?
Too late now.
It's too late already. So people are even big enough for like 1.5 meters or whatever it is.
Somebody printed out questions for me. Thank you, Sally. I've never felt as prepared as now, which is good. So, guys, thanks a lot for submitting questions. I think the volume of questions has been excellent again. I think they've been really good, and I think we tried to cluster them in a bunch of questions that we couldn't cover in the presentation, but I think are really relevant to get either all of your guys' viewpoints on, some viewpoints. We'll see how we go. First one, and that's an easy one, the main goals for yourselves and for the organization in 2022. Bit of a broad question, bit of a fluffy one. Let's see how you chip away at Sally. Go ahead. You can start.
Excellent. It's always easy to start. Cool. So I think, we go through a really thorough process at the group level and also the UK level to really work through our strategy for 2022. And that's a process that we kicked off at a group level. And it's a process that we look to kick off at a UK level once the group one is defined at the beginning of October. But already we are so much more aligned as a group and as a UK business. And so I can already talk about some common themes coming out of our focuses for next year. I think a very big one, which I think is not just in the UK, but across the group, is integration. So we've now become one Incubeta, we're moving towards one Incubeta, and we need to now put that into practice. So I can very much see that as happening in 2022. I think also for the UK, talking about the UK leadership team, there are a couple of potential acquisitions that we're looking at, that we'll look at next year, potentially in the SEO space to bolster our SEO proposition, because there's definitely a lot of interest there at the moment. So I would say integration is a big focus, a couple of acquisitions for the UK, and also I think looking at the structure in the UK so that we're putting the client first and really bolstering our growth layer. So those are really a few key points for me.
Yeah, so for us, it's like accelerating the integration, as Sally said, that for our team and everything we're doing, we want to be Incubeta, we want to be there quickly. Obviously, we've had a really strong first year, so it's to make sure that we kick on from that. And one of the things that we're putting in place now is just better structures that we can recruit the best talent within the Northern Irish market, but equally start working with more clients within Incubeta as a group. There is some real obvious similarities from what we've already picked up around the London team, for example, the performance side. I mean, we're just a replication of that. We do, yes, more services, but we want to get closer to that team and ultimately where we can help and where we can get some advice from the wider group.
Yeah, for us very much to get to know you guys, integration. I would like to do some pictures together. It would be nice. And for us, getting talent in board is, I think, very, very important priority.
On my own.
You got your own.
I can afford to. Well, that would be nice. 2 mics. No way. It's actually not that fluffy and easy to answer, I would say. If we can continue what we've started, the journey that we're on in terms of integration, in terms of becoming one, looking at the pipeline that we're having, looking at the incredible talent that we're having in the group, and literally giving everybody a growth opportunity, that would be, apart from integration and all the other stuff, that would be something that would really make me happy. And do the trick for the next years. But now Mike needs a mic.
That makes sense. If there's one important thing to add to it, it's making sure that I think within this crazy period of growth that we're seeing, that we stay the best business for the people who are already in the business, and it remain the best business for people to join, right? I mean, ultimately, the human capital is the best thing we have in our organization. Our people are gold, and we need to make sure that we can keep providing them the challenges to grow, keep providing them the opportunities for their growth as well, really foster that. I mean, if we do that right, I'm relatively sure that success will follow, because we have an amazing proposition. We have a super cool brand now. We actually look like a grown-up company. So there are no more reasons not to do that. I built again a nice bridge into my own next question. One of these things to consider, and that was actually a good question somebody asked, is how and when and in which way will we foster collaboration across markets? And that is an important thing to understand, right? I mean, as Incubeta, we've been relatively federated for a long time. Federated in terms of different countries, federated in terms of different brands, and we are still in the middle of the change process, right? I mean, calling everything Incubeta and saying you guys are all one big family now, that's not really how it works. And I think we're really focusing on taking those steps to actually truly become one integrated organization, right? With Groundswell, with Maze One, we have the opportunities to foster and broaden our proposition. You hear Tim and Richard and Mark very accurately say the best way to integrate is to do things together. And that ultimately is the best way. So we will be very pragmatic there. What we're also introducing is, of course, a more globally organized growth layer to actually help with these things. We need to make sure, if we want to work for global brands, that the flavor that Incubeta feels and tastes like in the US is not dissimilar from what it is in Australia or in Asia or in Europe or in South Africa, right? That means we need stronger global alignment on who we are, on what we sell, on how we package what we sell, and how we deliver things. We are creating a lot of specific service roles for people to take much more control and global ownership of these things. We will look to the business for that talent to come forward. And at the same time, Damien and Jessica are working really hard with me to make sure we craft that whole thing together. So there will be a lot more to come from us as a global team in terms of propositions. And there will be a lot more that we ask for markets in terms of actually helping us deliver those propositions the right way. Speaking of propositions and pressure, I did not build a bridge into this one. There is, and I think it's a really good call out, right? I think everybody on my couch has the same challenge, and that's, can we find enough good people to grow fast enough? And that is what we're seeing. We're seeing massive growth in the business. It's great. We cannot hire fast enough to keep up. And what it does, it creates pressure within the teams that are supposed to deliver, right? So one of the questions was, how are we solving for the pressure that we have on existing resources? Which options are we looking at, and how are we managing that whole thing? Lars, I want your viewpoint on that as well, but let me quickly update one thing. What we're looking at is a range of different partners that we can use to basically alleviate our own pressure. So we're arranging a range of different outsourcing partners, some which we are already testing, who can help us with things. We're working with a few businesses specifically focusing on media, working with a few businesses specifically focusing on data and analytics, with the goal, not that we become a business reliant on these outsourcing partners, but with the goal that people don't have to work from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. for 5-6 days in a row to get a client like Qatar up and running. That cannot happen again. So as we experience the crazy growth that we see, we are making sure that we hire as fast as we can, but also with the right people, and get ready with the right approaches around ensuring that we have the right fallback scenarios, so to say. Lars, any viewpoints you have on this?
I thought you were going to take over the sofa completely.
No, I'm done. I'm done talking now.
Thanks for giving us the chance to answer that question.
Sorry, I'm done.
I think you phrased it well. I mean, with more and more offices that we have in various locations, and with a pandemic that has taught us how to work virtually, I think we can solve for many of those issues. That speaks also to that sort of overflow service partner that we're going to have. We're going to keep on recruiting ahead of the curve. Is easier said than done, I know. That's why I've signed that off at the beginning of the year, knowing that by the end of the year, we'll still not have hired ahead of the curve, because we just need too many people. We can just keep on going. That is okay. We have even increased the number of people inside the building internally that will function as recruiters. And I think we're on a good track. We've just kind of lost a year in 2020 when we had kind of a hiring freeze and fell behind the curve. And that is difficult to catch up, especially in a year where we grow that massively as we currently do. But with more locations, with more attractive brands, offerings, products, and more people working as recruiters. And with all of you bringing referrals in, I think we are relatively well set.
Great. Let's hope so. We have no choice. Tim, from a Maze One perspective, how are you guys managing your growth in terms of talent and making sure there's enough people to power your machine?
It's very difficult. It's a very tight labor market at the moment. I think in most countries, in Netherlands, in Scandinavia, and UK, where we're located, it's very tight. What we try to do is be an attractive employer, be an attractive brand. And I think your whole brand positioning, what Damien was talking about, is going to be crucial in that. You want to be recognized as a thought leader, as a brand that people want to work for. So that's a very important step. And what we as a Maze One do specifically is to hire student workers. So we have a very good intern program. We just had 6 new interns starting. Very motivated, smart young people who are in the last phase of their study. And then afterwards, we try to hire them, which has happened quite a few times now.
That's great. It's very much in line with the digital academy that we started, right?
Thank you. I was just about to add it.
Next question. I'm not going to say much on this one. Actually, maybe I will. So talking. I'm joking. I will not. What initiative? And I'm gonna direct this one at you, Sally, because I know this is very close to your heart. Which initiatives do you have in place or are working on to ensure health and happiness of our staff? What can we think about, and what can you share in terms of what you're thinking about in that sense?
So speaking from a UK perspective, first of all, I think we've made huge progress in focusing on the staff welfare of our people. In the last year, we've revisited a number of our policies and benefits. And I think that in the last 6 months, we've updated about 12 different policies. So I think we've made great progress in the UK. And I think in other parts of the world as well, we've also made good progress. I think what we need to do now is to bring it all together as one Incubeta. We need to align on our benefits and our policies where we can, and our staff welfare and training. And I think at the moment, what we're doing is we're working on a global piece headed up by Henk Jan, looking at all of the benefits offered across the group, which ones we can align on, which ones are successful, and which ones we can then roll out globally. So that's a big focus for us. And then obviously we've invested heavily in our internal training as well over the last 12 months. So that's been incredibly important. And if we look at, I don't think we shy away from the topic. I think mental well-being has had a huge spotlight put on it in the last 18 months. And we have moved a lot of our budget into looking after the well-being of our people. Previously, if I'm honest, it was about, going out, socializing, having drinks, mixing with people. And actually, there's now a big shift towards yes, people want to do that, but actually well-being is more important. And that, again, will be reflected in our budgeting process when we enter into that for 2022. We want to put more money behind staff welfare, mental well-being, etc. So that will be a big focus for 2022.
And I think one important thing to add is that we're always looking at global standards or global concepts and local execution, which is fitting, right? So that means we'll be looking at things like 4-day work weeks on a market by market perspective, seeing what makes sense. I'm not sure if it is on the horizon for our business. I'm not sure if we can convince our main shareholder, but it is an interesting concept we can look at. And another jump off point there, Sally. What are we doing to encourage people that are part of minority groups in terms of how they apply to roles and in terms of how we want to stimulate that process?
Sure. So again, this is something, I'm talking from a UK perspective, we put a big focus on, especially in the last year. We've got an incredibly active diversity and inclusion committee, and we've recently introduced a platform called Applied, which removes any form of unconscious bias from the recruitment process. And it's been a fantastic success. And actually, it's something that's being rolled out at the moment in South Africa and eventually to the rest of the world. Now, a big key part of that is collecting the statistics in order to really analyze how successful this is. And I think at the moment, Anna Yorish of the UK is looking at the data, along with Mark, is
looking at the data that's been coming over the last year, and analysing it to see where we're doing well, which areas we need to improve on. But it's been a massive shift in our recruitment process. I remember 5 years ago when I was involved in recruitment, looking at CVs, we would go, oh, this person's travelled the world, fantastic. They've done some charity work in Asia, let's hire them, they're well-rounded. Well, actually, no, that's absolute rubbish. Just because they probably had family who could fund them to travel the world and do charity work, that doesn't mean that they're well-rounded at all. So it's been an incredibly we've had to really pivot the way we've looked at things and how we recruit people, and also using the Apply platform. The feedback from candidates has been fantastic, but we've also had to listen to feedback from our staff, because in the beginning a lot of the feedback was, we're hiring people, we don't feel we know enough about them. And actually, that's the whole point, is we shouldn't be hiring people based on if we know enough about them, or if we feel we have something in common with them or not. It's whether they have the ability to do the job. So that's something that, we're going to analyze data in more detail, release the results, and we're really looking forward to working with South Africa as well as the rest of the world to really see if it's something that we can adopt across the globe.
Thanks, Sally. One for you, Lars. How are we making sure that our business can work in this hybrid shape, with some people in the office, some people not, some people in the meeting room, some people not? What are we doing on that?
Learning.
Fair.
Keeping the doors open for change and learning, because nobody has experienced that before. I think we're doing well. We all sort of struggled coming back to the office. I had a chat with Sally the other day where she was like, yeah, well, now I'm back in the office and it's less efficient because I'm having more water cooler chats and it's louder and I can't focus that much anymore. I think we have to find the right balance, and we're not top down telling people what to do. We are absolutely committed to hybrid. That's totally fine. The good news is that we don't need a second floor in the UK, because for the number of people that we currently are, we actually need more seats. We don't need them because there will rarely be a day that everybody is actually in. So that gives us room for growth without increasing the office space that we're actually having. And the rest is learn it as we do it. And there is no directives top down. I think another question that we had was whether we will enforce vaccination. Clearly not, unless it is forced by government. We will keep that open for people to decide whether they want to be vaccinated or not. Nobody that comes to the office has to be vaccinated. It's not up to us to top down decide things like that. And there won't be a classic guidance on how we want people to come back. Ideally, I would say 2 to 3 days, maybe even in a row. But quite frankly, it's a hybrid, and let's learn. And if we do something now that we in 3 months' time realize doesn't work, then we change it again. And this has been the company that is most open to change I've ever worked for, except Google in the early days. So I'm quite confident that as a company can deal with it. And even if we have to change the attitude and the way that we're dealing with it right now, everybody will be happy and we'll change it again. That's okay.
I mean, even Google doesn't know how to do it. So we'll just...
Their offices are still closed and
together.
they're completely mixed up. Yeah, because they've only learned to act globally. That's one of the things that I was sort of taught when I joined Google in the very first days. If it doesn't solve a problem of 1 million people, we don't do it. Well, fine. That means they are standardized globally in everything that they do. And that doesn't work when it comes to hybrid, because we're people. We're living in different countries. We've got different cultures. We've got different backgrounds and different ways of dealing with things. So they're struggling in finding the one global guidance on how to come back and not to come back. The cheat sheet again.
Yeah, we're covering lots of questions at the same time, which is always how it goes. It's good. Very efficient. Tim, you just met your
German in me again. Oh God.
That's good. Well done, Lars. Tim, you just met your UK team for the first time ever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Are they nice?
Much better looking. But can we switch to introduce them, or
I don't know if we can.
Maybe it's nice to introduce them. Yeah. So,
we can do like a quick round. That's good.
Let's introduce the Maze 1 team. So I'll start with the Dutch team.
Hi, my name is Anouk. Oh. We'll go this way. Yeah.
Hi, Nikki.
Rupert in the UK. Actually, we had lunch together for the first time. Few drinks, not too many. Starting carefully. Yeah. So then we get to know each other way better, I guess, after more drinks. But is the team?
You're also a good quiz master too. It was impressive. It's good. Yeah. It's not bad.
Start a show together.
Yeah, maybe we
Mike,
should.
Mike and Tim.
I heard YouTube is going to be
Sunday
real
night.
big one day.
Sunday
Maybe
night on
let's-
YouTube.
let's-
Mike and Tim.
yes. Yeah, we can give away things. You know, returned Amazon product. It's really good. I mean, one of the questions I have for you, because of course you've built this business during COVID to a large extent, right? So how did you guys deal with that whole process? Because we know how we dealt with it as Incubeta, but as a new member of the Incubeta family stepping in from the outside, how do you guys deal with it? Hiring people, motivating people, keeping people on track. How did you do that?
Very, very tough. And that was one of the things that really kept me up at night. So how am I going to build, scale, run this business with everyone being locked at home, with some people perhaps not in the most ideal situation at home, with roommates or maybe in a very small home, very not pleasant to work from. So there was a lot of worries on that part. What we did was communication. We had in the beginning where they started. So we make sure that every morning we spoke to everyone, regardless where they were, and every evening we spoke to everyone, regardless where they were, just to check in, how you're doing, how you well. And that gradually evolved in a more process where we skipped it into teams, broke it up into teams and work groups. But yeah, it's been very tough. So, for example, the UK team never met them. Very weird. Going to tell stories about their grandchildren that we build a business with people we only met on the screen.
And it actually worked.
And it worked.
Mark, Richard, anything to share from your viewpoint on people and COVID and hybrid working? How you guys do with that?
We're pretty lucky. We're a team of going to be 12, 13 soon in Belfast. So we get things a wee bit easier in terms of nowadays. And early in COVID, very similar to Tim, we had daily calls, trying to make sure the team's okay. And we've been in the hybrid mode for a number of months. As I say, it's quite easy. Richard and I are probably in the office 4 days a week. We drive to work, takes 20 minutes. We park and walk in. It's not that difficult compared to what some others are facing. And we got the team sort of split up, and most people are coming in 2 days a week. I think this is all related back to staff and trying to grow staff and meet some of the demands. I mean, our groundswell's what it is and we're part of Incubeta because of the team. Richard, nice job from day one. It's been pretty straightforward. Look after the clients and look after the team. Make sure they're both okay. We're a client first business with the team, and if the guys, we encourage to come into the office because it benefits them to learn, get stuff done quicker, have a support network. The big fear we had and still hold a bit with remote working and on screen is you just can't tell the same if someone's struggling or needs a bit of support. Yeah. You just and our team are great, and they'll always say, yeah, we're fine, or we'll go and try and work it out, which is wonderful. But when you're in an office and can look at someone and go, do you know what, we need to mix something up here, we need to support it. So when it comes to staffing and continue to try and grow, we will still hold a client and team first approach. So our mandate with the guys is we have to still deliver the quality of work that our clients are used to. Groundswell is what it is because we've got a really strong retention rate. We serve our clients well, so we will try to recruit and force better thinking. Remote, absolutely. It wouldn't have been something in our minds 2 years ago. Of course, we've proven it works. We can add people to the team from wherever, but we will make sure we don't sign the team up to failure or put on their undue pressure, because the team is number one. So if that happens, clients fall out after it. So yeah, we're a bit more fortunate, and we can get together quite easily and quickly, and the team are comfortable. But hybrid's here to stay. difficult things, that productivity.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep that.
I mean, who would have known one of the biggest challenges of the 21st century would be how do you do meetings with part people in a room and part people joining remotely? Whoever solves that now is a billionaire, I think. But we will keep plowing through. How are we on time? What time is it actually?
22.
Good. Last question. This is a good one. We're going to go around the couch again, starting with you, Sally. What is the one thing each employee can do to make Incubeta a better workplace?
Fantastic question. Cool. So, what I always say when I would meet with the new joiners in our business, and often they ask that question, is if you see an opportunity, go for it. Don't sit back and wait for your line manager to come to you. Put your hand up, put a case together, and the chances are, if it stacks up, we will support it. And that's something we see time and time again in this business. If you look at how people in this business have progressed, from role to role. I mean, I'm just calling out a few here, looking at Lisa, looking at Damien, looking at the likes of Anna Yorish, carving out your own career, seeing an opportunity and going for it. That's probably the best advice I can give to new joiners.
I'll go last so I can bridge. Go ahead.
Yeah, so look, I think for me, it's asking questions. It's asking questions about everything you do, whether that's I'm in the middle of something and I'm unsure. The worst thing to do is just to try to make things up and try to get through it with yourself, especially with the remote working world. I mean, that gives even more pressure. So the best people that we've ever come across, either through an interview stage or whenever they first join our business, is the ones that just get in and just look at stuff. And that also means that the business can adapt and stay ahead of the curve, but it also helps the employee from a sort of just general how they manage their tasks and how they look at their work-life balance and how they make sure that they get their tasks done. But there's always this fear of where, you join a business or you're in a specific role that actually, there's areas you just need to upskill. The real benefit that we've had when we were all together is open plan office, similar to this, where you can actually talk and share and collaborate. In the remote world, you must ask questions. You have to be comfortable to get on with either your line manager or someone senior or a specialist in an area to seek advice.
I think I'll give two. I'll give one that's easy to say and maybe harder for everyone to relate to, is just get stuck in. That's easier for us to say in Belfast when we're a small team. It's a bit related to what you're saying, Sally. Get stuck in, but we're a big organization, so we've got people doing specialist roles that it might not just be as easy to get stuck in. So the practical one for anybody's, before you reach out to someone else to ask the question, have you taken it far enough yourself? Have you got as far as you can go? So when you go to someone else in the team, a line manager, a part of B, whoever it is, that I'm trying to do this. I found out X and Y. What's the right thing? Not just, oh, there's an expert in that over there, throw it over here, or someone will solve that.
Yeah, making a better workplace, I think, is also very important to have fun together. The last year and a half, we've been stuck behind our screens and just hammering through Excel sheets and just being very, very efficient and productive. But maybe we forgot a little bit to have fun, and that's so important. So I would say that now we're opening up again, hybrid situations. Let's kickstart that again.
Now you know why we've acquired Maze One. We lacked some fun. Be curious, be kind, help others to grow, and keep that extremely open mindset for change. And I can promise that this company is definitely going to flourish and grow. That has been so unique and so outstanding for me to observe wherever I've been in that business so far. This is a very, very unique bunch of people. And we just have to keep that and stay to our culture. Add a little bit of fun on top, and I'm never going to leave this company again.
Stuck with you forever. There's one key thing that I've seen that lots of people can do a better job of. I call it positive accountability. It really means, and to be honest, the work from home situation has been challenging with that, right? You don't always see what happens if you don't answer that email and you think I'll do it tomorrow. It has repercussions on people. It has repercussions on colleagues. It has repercussions on other people who have to deal with the fact that things are delayed or things take a longer time. I think if we all try and take one step further in understanding what it can do, if we take one step further into our co-workers' direction, or our extending a larger helping hand than we would normally do, it makes a massive difference, right? And even asking, should I help you with that? Can I help you with that? Can I do something? It makes a massive difference for people. And maybe 90% of the time, they'll decline anyway, so you don't have to do any additional work. But for that 10%, you can actually help someone. Do it. Take that extra step. Extend that extra hand. I'll give you a personal anecdote. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I think about the emails I didn't answer, and I sneak down at 4 a.m. in the morning and I start replying to those emails. It's bad, but I do it because I feel horrible if I don't. I'm not telling you guys to do the same thing, by the way. Don't be like me.
Please don't.
Please don't. Please don't. It's a personal anecdote. That sort of my personal anecdote sort of wraps it up, guys. Second town hall, I think it went really well. We have a couch full of recent joiners and super new joiners. We have a new team with Incubeta and Maze One sitting here who will have drinks with us. Fun. We're bringing the fun right in, Tim. So that's good. Lars, thanks for the update. Do you have any final words? Any parting thoughts?
There's too many mail on the sofa. We have to change that. No, I called it out before others can do it. And I'm proud of Maze One joining. I'm proud of Panalysis joining. I'm proud of the team that has made Incubeta over this year and all the years before. Let's have some fun wherever you are in the world right now. Don't wait too long. It's 6 o'clock here very soon, and at 6 o'clock we can start drinking. So thank you everybody for dialing in. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your patience and your time. We give you back 13 minutes, and we start drinking here now and celebrating that Maze One has joined. Thank you.
Thank you.